Howdy folks, and welcome to the video for the German Tier 1 tech tree cruiser, the Hermelin. The Hermelin is my favorite Tier 1 cruiser, which I realize might not be saying much, Might be like least annoying insurance salesman or least irritating guy that calls you to remind you about your car's extended warranty. But no, seriously, I think if you are going to play Tier 1, I think this is the ship to play. There's a couple others that are close. They're not bad. The Chang'an is probably my second favorite. It's very different than the Hermelin, but I think the Hermelin is the best. And that comes down to a couple of things. First of all, it's what is not true about the Hermelin, which is that there's no serious significant flaws. I guess the hit points are a little bit low. That's probably the closest I can think of, but the turning is fine. The speed is okay. We'll get back to the ship in a second, but just pause for a second. This always kind of annoys me. Like, this often happens, of course, at Tier 1 where there's only one player in each team. And I don't know, man. I feel like there should be some kind of gentleman's agreement not to do this. Like, the other player is just immediately attacking me, and I mean, that's fine, he's allowed to do that. I just yeah, I don't know. You better make sure you know what you're doing. I mean, I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but I guess it would be a little bit like playing Unreal Tournament back in the day, and the teams are full of bots except one player on each side, and just hunting the one player on the other team over and over again. I don't know. Sometimes I get caught out because I don't want to do that to people. And like in that game, he got the drop on me, and he got a couple shots in on me. The Hashidate, which he's, driving, I just don't think is as good as the Hermelin, which doesn't help. But anyway, I don't want to belabor the point. I just thought I'd mention it since it happened there. It is a good showcase for the Hermelin because this is not one of those games where I'm going to win on points or something. Like, I'm going to win by showcasing what the Hermelin's, in my opinion, best at, which is deleting all the bots without taking any damage yourself, and then having a slight edge over most other ships when it comes time to, fighting against the one or two players on the team. And that comes down to a couple things. Like I said, there's no significant flaws, really. The top speed is all right. The turning radius is all right. And then there's a couple of advantages. One is I do feel like the guns are just anecdotally pretty good. I mean, they're not perfect. You can see the dispersion is a little bit all over the place, but sometimes you really do get on a string where you get some just railgun dispersion. It's only 89 meters at 9.9 kilometers, which falls under my made-up threshold of 10 times the... I guess it would be 1% of the range of the guns. Anyway, I mean, they have an alpha of 990. You get 2 double turrets. The reload is 4 seconds. They just feel good. They feel good by Tier 1 standards. And then the other thing is it's the only ship at Tier 1 that has any appreciable armor. It actually has a narrow band of 35 millimeters of armor along the side, kind of covering, I guess, what would normally be the Citadel, except Tier 1 cruisers don't have Citadels. And then a slightly bigger band around that's 23 millimeters. And those are big enough to shatter a lot of the HE shells. Those are a big enough armor value to shatter a lot of HE shells at this tier. So I would say this really comes in handy against bots because they do aim directly for the center of the ship. Now, their aim is so bad that they're really just as likely to hit anywhere on your ship. But I would say the armor covers roughly 15, maybe even as much as 20% of the frontage of the ship from most angles. And so that means you can expect, somewhere around a 15 to 20% reduction in the damage you take, which is just super helpful. Every now and then you get players that just aren't paying attention and they just keep shooting at that one spot, and it will never work. They can't damage you in that one spot. It certainly doesn't make you invincible. As you can see, I took a bunch of damage from that Hashidate at range. The armor's along the side, so like it doesn't do any good against plunging fire from long distances, but especially up super close against some bots, they will just kind of aim directly for that spot over and over again. Anyway, it's just a little bit of an edge versus almost every other ship in this tier. And so I think between those two factors, I feel like, it's not like the Hermelin is amazing. I would say it's like maybe 20% better than the other ships, but at a tier where everybody is so finely balanced, all the ships are just very, very even. I feel like why not take the edge, So yeah, when I play at tier 1, I basically almost always play the Hermelin. And if I log into a tier 1 match and I see that the opposing player is in a Hermelin, I pretty much assume that's another SEAL clubber like me. That's somebody that knows what they're doing. Of course, it's not always the case, right? There are people that prefer other ships for sure. This guy in the enemy team definitely seems to know what he's doing. He's a good player, and he's in the Hashidate. I don't know why. Sometimes people play specific ships because they like the history of them or whatever, which is certainly fair. I mean, once you're down here at tier 1, you may as well do whatever the heck you want, right? This is all kind of silliness. These don't even count towards like missions or anything. But yeah, I mean, like if there were money on the table, somebody was like, here's actual cash money. If you win this tier 1 battle, I'm going to go with the Hermelin every time. Like I said, the Chengen is kind of my second place, and you can watch my Chengen video. The Chengen has some advantages, the biggest one being that it's really small and therefore hard to hit, especially bots just never hit it. So, the other solution to armor is just dodging shells, right? The Hermelin is not tiny. I wouldn't say it's huge. It's not like the Black Swan or the Van Kinsbergen, which felt like huge. But it's not small either. It's just kind of medium. I also kind of like the way it looks. I like this black and red camo that's on it. I think it's it looks a little bit more like an actual combat ship than some of these tier 1 ships. Some of these tier 1 ships really look like they're just like a boat that happened to be laying around and they just strapped a couple guns to it and we're like, okay, go ahead. Go out there, see what you can do. The Hermelin actually kind of looks like a real ship. But, yeah. Sort of running out of things to say. Using my standard strategy, as always, of defending the cap. Of course, once you get rid of the player, everything changes. He is trying to stay away from me, which is probably smart. I mean, that's his best option, both for his own personal stats as well as to win the game. But I am winning. So at some point, he needs to either attack those 2 remaining bots on my team, or he needs to head for my cap. And so as long as I stay within range of both of those things, but also stay away from him, I think he outspots me, but that kind of goes away once he shoots his guns. I think I outrange him with the guns. So he's not going to, he's not going to pop up until he's not going to shoot at the bots. He's not dumb. He's going to shoot at me, and he's going to get the drop on me. He gets the first shot for free, and he's going to do a reasonably good job of dodging, but I'm also going to do a reasonably good job of dodging. And, he started with fewer hit points than I did. And I just outshot him. I could have lost this. I mean, certainly there's a lot of RNG going on here, right? With dispersion the way it is in the game, this is essentially just a die roll. If all my shells just go randomly in random directions, then he's going to win. But I think I had the high percentage here, right? I mean, I think overall I like my chances. And I won that duel. And of course, now that that's over, the rest of the game is a little silly. I'm not going to edit it out because it's only another minute. You're not going to be subject to too much of this tier 1 gameplay. But yeah, I'm kind of closing in, actually. I'm being done with all the tier 1 ships, which is a little bit of a relief for me. That'll be the first chunk of ships that I've completely finished. As always, for those that don't know, my goal is to eventually record a video for every ship in the game, with a couple of rare exceptions. I probably will never be able to play the Iwaki Alpha, and I definitely will not play the DD-214, especially out of respect of veterans. But the DD-214 is just a cosmetic variant of the Clemson. So it's pretty much the only ship I know I will probably never get to play is the Iwaki Alpha. But I'm definitely going to play all the tier 1s. I think I'm done with 8 out of the 11. So you'll be seeing the other ones coming up as they come up in the rotation. But yeah, I was thinking like, oh man, it's going to take me a while to chew through all the hit points on this Eritrea. But no, that's not going to be a problem because bots like to ram each other. Anyway, victory. Hooray, victory in the Hermelin. I obviously have some absurd win rate in the Hermelin. I mean, I do lose from time to time against a player that's better than me or gets the drop on me, but not today, not today. So that'll do it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.